TG Geeks, episode 42, October 12th, 2015. Stop with the live-action remakes already. All praise Lord Cthulhu. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre. You name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona.
And I am Keziah Mason. No, I'm not. I'm not
You're
that
not.
rich. No, well, I love Cthulhu, but I know I'm not Keziah Mason, the witch who follows him. No, I am Ben Raggington, also here in lovely Phoenix, Arizona.
And we have some news to get started with.
Oh, God, do we ever? Well, as Keith alluded to, Disney, in this rush to make live-action films, they just announced the other day they're going to do one for Cruella de Vil.
Really? Why? Why? They've already done that twice.
They did. It was
twice.
Called, yeah,
twice.
with Glenn Close.
Twice.
Two times.
Twice.
Twice. Yes, both with Glenn Close. It's been done already.
Stop with the live action already.
No kidding. Now, comicbook.com reports that the screenwriter is Kelly Marvel, who wrote 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, that screenwriter. Been tapped. Yeah.
Why?
Well,
because it's not gray. It's black and white.
It's black and white, I know.
Dalmatians are black and white. They're not gray.
There's no gray in this. Yes, but Kelly's been tapped by Disney to pen the live-action film of 101 Dalmatians villain Cruella de Vil, and it's just simply going to be called Cruella. And according to the report,
it's going to be an origin story. That's the rage.
You know, I think you're onto something.
Why? We get enough of her origin in both of the films.
Who really cares?
Yeah, exactly.
She's just a wacky woman who likes furs. Anyway, according to the report from The Hollywood Reporter, Disney is fast-tracking the project. Why?
Stop.
To follow the next entries in the growing live-action fairy tale empire. She's hardly of the fairy tale caliber. Anyway, the list is The Jungle Book, Through the Looking Glass, and Beauty and the Beast.
Shut up!
Yeah. Anyway, Disney currently has 4 untitled animations that they're also adding to their scheduled list of action films.
Yay.
But among the live action as well, they're looking at, Dumbo, which is going to be done by Tim Burton.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Tink. Well, the fact that Dumbo's being done by Tim Burton could make it...
Well, that could be interesting.
that could really go either way. It could either just really tank in the worst way...
Or it could be incredible.
Or it could be genius.
Yep.
It's just really hard to tell. Anyway, they're also doing Tink, Mulan, and
Haven't
they're doing
done
another...
a whole series on Tink? Excuse me?
Well, not live action.
Well, oh, good Lord.
I know. Yeah, that's my thoughts exactly.
We don't run the place, so oh well.
No, we only report the ugly news, and here's another bit of ugly news that if anybody was listening really closely, had their ear to the ground at some point yesterday and heard a grinding sound, that was my teeth when I read this story. There was an artist's picture, I don't know what the hell you want to call it, some sort of conceptual design of the Flash from the upcoming Flash movie, not the really awesome CW TV series. No, this is from the Warner Brothers film, and it was a tech-based costume. That is the rumor.
Why?
That is the rumor.
Why?
For the Flash movie. Now, comicbook.com again, they're reporting on this rumor saying that the Flash movie is looking to give, you want to know why? Here's the why. They wanted to give DC Comics' Scarlet Speedster a tech-savvy, armored look. Now, the rumor originally came from Den of Geek, but they're pretty good with their rumors, so I would give this some kind of legitimacy here. Anyway, they claim to have heard from a source with inside information about the very specific look the studio is looking for, and this is the quote. Understandably, they're seeking to avoid, and I say this with air quotes, any comparison to the well-designed and received TV version. So we're told.
Good grief.
During the changes, they're aiming to create a more tech-based suit that will look quite different from the burgundy leather outfit designed by Colleen Atwood for the TV series. Instead, this one will look more, quote-unquote, like armor.
Yeah, and we've talked about this whole not mixing the TV and the film crap at Warner. I think they're missing the boat. I really do.
This really has me... I saw this, and I think my blood pressure shot up by about 40 points, because this is Warner Brothers making the worst imaginable decision. I mean, even Stephen Amell, star of Arrow, has said, Warners, you're making a huge mistake. Now, he really wasn't all that keen. I mean, he didn't care one way or the other if his Arrow was brought into the movie universe. He didn't care. But when it was announced that they had cast somebody other than Grant Gustin to play Barry Allen, he got on his soapbox and he preached.
It just doesn't make sense. It does not make sense.
We've covered the story.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
About how Warner's definitely wants to keep the two universes separate, and the whole idea being is that they don't want to tie the hands of the TV showrunners. I have one word: bollocks.
Bollocks.
All you've got to do is have your Kevin Feige kind of guy who has a vision, who can oversee the entire universe and say, okay, you guys go in this direction, you guys go in this direction. You know, it's like you take the high road, I'll take the low road, you know, and we'll all get together and have one huge, massive party when it's all over.
Balls.
Instead of doing this. I mean, I'm really livid that they're trying to create these two separate universe things. It just doesn't work. Now, if in the case of like Batman and Superman, that's different, because the odds of those two really happening or really having any kind of major presence on the television side of things is highly remote. So, yeah, go have fun with that. But if you're bringing in an already existing TV property into your universe and then your movie universe and then completely altering it, I got a problem. I dislike that.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
anyway, let's move on to something a little bit more mysterious and a little bit more fun. And this was a story that you found and you reported on. What was it?
Yeah, it was. It appears that there is a new Lovecraft feature film in the works, albeit animation.
You know, but I think animation is better because you can do far more artsy things with it.
It's actually based on a graphic novel by Arcana Studios, and the film will be titled the same as the graphic novel, and it's Howard Lovecraft and the Frozen Kingdom.
That's interesting.
And it's by Sean Patrick O'Reilly, the graphic novel. And this was reported by Screen Daily that Shout Factory had signed a deal to distribute the Arcana Studios animated film in the USA and Canada. In fact, they have the rights to everything.
Oh,
digital,
okay.
home entertainment, feature film, everything.
Wow. So they
Yeah.
basically own the world.
Yeah, exactly. They own everything. Multiple platform releases are planned for the next year. And
Well, that's not a bad idea. I mean, you can do
Yeah.
a lot of really big multimedia kind of marketing this way.
yeah. Now, there's a VP at Shout Factory that is quoted as saying, Sean and his film production team offer a compelling vision for storytelling, supported with amazing art direction. We look forward to building a multi-generational movie audience across a wide variety of entertainment distribution platforms next year. And O'Reilly, Sean Patrick O'Reilly, who wrote the graphic novel, is also the CEO and founder of Arcana Studios.
Oh, of course.
And he said, the Howard Lovecraft graphic novel series is an award-winning gem in our library. We know the Frozen Kingdom increases consumer choice as there are so few Lovecraftian feature films produced, yet so many fans of H.P. Lovecraft's work. I have not picked up the graphic novel yet, but we have the article. We'll have a link to the article. It's called Lovecraft Fans Rejoice. And in that article is a link to Amazon's where you can purchase the graphic novel if you want to take a look at it.
This looks really far out. So
Yeah,
just so that
I think
I'm
it could
clear
be
on this,
fun.
the graphic novel that Sean Patrick did is based on a Lovecraft story.
Yes.
Okay.
It's based on the Cthulhu mythos, actually.
So it's just
So-
taking ideas from Lovecraft's Cthulhu universe and then creating a story.
Yeah, that's from what I understood. That the article really didn't say much about what the film or the graphic novel was about. So, and I didn't. I should have looked that up, but on Amazon to see what that's about. But
Well,
I
still,
didn't.
it could be interesting. I mean, I would
Yeah.
hate to think that they would create something that would really fly in the face of all that is wonderful at Lovecraft. Okay, now you're bringing it up on Amazon right now. What are you saying?
it says this is the synopsis, a very short synopsis of the graphic novel. After visiting his father in Arkham Sanitarium, young Howard Lovecraft ignores his father's warning and uses the legendary Necronomicon
Oh no.
to open a portal to a strange frozen world filled with horrifying creatures and grave danger.
Well,
Alone and scared,
just on yeah. Ooh.
Howard befriends a hideous creature he names Spot, who
Ah!
takes him to the castle of the king where he is captured and sentenced to death.
Oh God. Okay, nice grim ending there.
Yeah.
Really far out. Okay, well, they're definitely pulling on some classic Lovecraft ideas. I mean, Arkham.
Yep.
The Necronomicon. I wouldn't
Necronomicon.
Necronomicon. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if the teleportation took place in the same house as Keziah Mason's.
You never know. And actually, the graphic is a young boy, and it looks like a Cthulhu.
It does,
something
yeah.
In
The
the
artwork.
background, yeah, the artwork. So it could be interesting. I might have to pick up the graphic novel. Actually, what was the price on that? The price is $3.99 for Kindle and
Hey.
$8.46.
Okay, I think I know what we're
So,
getting.
Yeah,
That looks far out.
I have to get that.
Yeah, I'm
graphic
really
novel.
I'm really intrigued because I'm really beginning to fall in love with Lovecraft.
Yeah, when I bought that whole Lovecraft compendium, if you will, and read quite a bit of it. I love his writing. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
you
it's
were-
just incredible.
Yeah, you mentioned that you were reading it on the plane coming back from a trip.
Yeah. What did I read? I read.
Well, you read Witch House,
Call of
obviously.
Cthulhu. Yeah, I read Witch House on the way out on a trip, and then on the way back, I read the Call of Cthulhu and something else. I don't remember what it was, but
But it was the style of his writing that you found wonderful.
I read Cool Air actually on the way out too.
Cool Air. I'm not familiar with that.
That was the one that Night Gallery did about the guy that was in the apartment and he had the ammonia air conditioner that he created, and then
The
he was-
title
he
is
was-
familiar.
Yeah, he was actually dead, had been dead for a very long time, and was keeping himself alive. So,
Yeah,
and
far out.
that was the Night Gallery was based on that, and it was a fascinating story. So it's a short story. A lot of his short stories.
I know, but
So-
they're dense.
Yeah. Oh,
I think that's what's
yeah.
so amazing
It's
about
his
them.
writing. His writing is just
It's
very
rich.
dense, yes.
Very, very rich. Okay, so moving over to television. Oh man, this is like bad news week. I'm telling you,
Oh.
I'm not happy about this story. Apparently, Fox has decided to decrease the series order of episodes for Minority Report from 13 to 10.
Doesn't bode good. Well,
No,
for the
it does
series.
not. It does not bode well. Now, of course, a lot of Fox television shows when they first premiere, when they have their freshman season, they're always given a 13 episode run, and it's no different for Minority Report. Now, according to The Wrap, the Steven Spielberg produced drama, it's been struggling in the Nielsen ratings. It's only been drawing a 0.7 live
Wow.
viewing.
Hmm.
Plus the same day rating in the 18 to 49-year-old demographic for its most recent episode. Now Fox is planning to keep the series in its current time slot, which is Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern for now.
But that's up against what?
It's up against Monday Night Football.
Oh, that's right. Well, anything that's up against that, my God.
Yeah, well, why did Scorpion survive? It's up against Scorpion as well.
Oh, yeah.
And that show,
Don't get me started on that.
I know, but they're both, I can understand Monday Night Football, but Scorpion, That's still going strong. Yeah, but Minority Report just didn't quite seem to really catch on.
Interesting.
And what's
I think it's good.
well, yeah, you've liked it. I've liked it. Sam Roberts doesn't. She keeps coming back with a big, enormous meh. And she's not the only one. I mean, I really think that we're in the minority. Aha! Yeah, rim shot. Yeah, thank you. Make sure to tip your waiter. So what this episode cut is basically going to mean is that when it hits mid-season break, hasta la vista, baby. Because it was going to run 10 episodes. It was then going to have the winter break, or its mid-season break, and then it was going to air the last 3.
Interesting.
So this is essentially a cancellation.
Yeah.
Unless something happens in the last end that all of a sudden draws everybody to watching the show.
Yeah.
But unless, that's like an act of God. I don't really see that happening, tragically. So I think
we're already, 3 episodes in? Two,
2 or 3. I can't remember. I think, we're 3 episodes in. So I'm really distressed by this news.
Yeah.
But, and the thing that really bothers me is that Fox does a really good job at science fiction television shows, but they just don't seem to get the audience. 2 words, almost human.
Yep, I know.
Yeah, we know how that went. I mean, Fringe was a huge exception to that rule.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it doesn't seem to be going too well.
Oh, well.
Okay, now to fly over the pond and talk about Doctor Who. Wow. History is repeating itself because according to the Mirror in the UK, the BBC executives, they seem to be a little bit worried about a decline in the numbers that they're drawing in for Doctor Who viewership. And it looks like that they're going to borrow a page from David Tennant history and actually scrap the show in favor of what they're calling Sherlock-style features.
They need to scrap the
Stephen
showrunner.
Moffat.
Yes, they need to scrap
They
the
need to get rid of
showrunner
Stephen
and
Moffat.
writer.
Yeah, it's interesting you should say that. I was listening to Megapodzilla today, and they were talking about the fact that Jenna Louise Coleman is leaving the show, and Crazy Joe just chimed right in and says he really thinks the big thing is Moffat needs to go.
Yep.
And he's absolutely right. Moffat, I think, has completely exhausted his run. Actually, he said something, Joe said something which was dead, it was so right on. When Moffat was only a script writer, when he was only a story writer under RTD, the episodes were amazing.
Great stories.
He wrote great episodes. He cannot write for a series. And I think the only series of Who that he did that was really good was his first one, where he brought in Matt Smith, and it all dovetails into the Pandorica and the Big Bang. That was the only good year of Matt Smith that I, for the most part, enjoyed. I'd say well over half of the season. Everything else after that has just been disappointment after disappointment.
Yep.
This season's been a little bit better. But I think Moffat just does not have a good sense on how to be a showrunner for Doctor Who. It's just not working. So anyway, the BBC execs, they seem to be really concerned about this, despite the fact that Doctor Who is still a huge money maker. It's earning an estimated of £60 million a year.
Wow.
I'm sorry, that's a money maker. But apparently it has hit some sort of crisis period because the viewing figures have plunged below 4 million.
What?
That's what the story reads, that it's dropped below 4 million. Now, the part that bothers me, there's a number of things that bother me, but this one gives me concern. And I'm a little hesitant. It does say, obviously, Jenna Louise Coleman is leaving, and then repeats that Peter Capaldi may do the same because he wants to spend more time with his family. And if that were the case, then maybe they would want to go to this Sherlock-style featurette. But, the same thing happened to David Tennant his last go-around with Who? With episodes like Waters of... With Who, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who?
David Tennant.
Oh.
And his last go-round with Doctor Who.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. With episodes like, ha, ha, ha. with he did several made for movies. Waters of Mars was one of them. That's the only one that I actually recalled. The others didn't really seem to impress me all that much, including his Regeneration episode. So I'm a little concerned about that. We know that Moffat seems to love Sherlock. Maybe it's the production schedule of Sherlock that he likes more than the week-to-week grind. I don't know. It's hard to say. Now,
week to week for what? 8 episodes? Good God!
Well, it's more than 8. It's more than 8. I think it's like 13. It's over 13.
Grief.
I know. Wine.
I mean, try a 26 or 28 episode series here in the U.S.
Yeah, right. I mean, if Moffat wants to complain about this, come over to the U.S. and start producing shows here, and then go back to England and see how good you've got it.
Exactly.
I mean, the showrunners here, they work.
Don't let him come over here and run U.S. TV.
Oh, heavens, no. Yeah, but if he were still to try and produce Doctor Who here, he would have a heck of a lot more difficult time just trying to get a show done here with the schedules that we've got. I mean, even if it were on Fox, it would be a bigger nightmare than what he's doing with the BBC. So, hey, Moffat, if you're whining, stop it. Yep. But to kind of put a little bit of a silver lining on this, a BBC spokesman did say we're only 3 weeks into this year's run. It's far too early to discuss next year's commission. And he's right about that.
Yep.
Now, on a completely different note.
Something completely different.
Now for something completely different, and this kind of harkens back to our big slogan, and that is, you name it, we talk about it.
Absolutely.
Last week, we had, was it last week or the week before?
Yeah. Week before.
We had the enormous pleasure of spending an evening with Arizona Opera.
Yes, it was a private reception. And
yeah,
it was very nice. There was about 50 people.
Mm-hmm.
One of our friends happened to be lucky.
Yeah. One of our friends is on the board of governors, so that helped a great deal. And it was our first time actually getting to check out their new facility.
Oh, it was fabulous.
I mean, we've driven by it a dozen times already. We knew it was there. We knew how it functioned. But it's the first time we actually got to go in, and I was really, really impressed.
Yeah, they have a full rehearsal hall, which is the size of the stage at
Symphony Hall.
So the full size stage with wings and everything, they could actually do a production in there. And so
apparently they have the smaller operas. They will actually, instead of putting on over at Symphony Hall, they'll do smaller operas. I think they did. Good grief! There was a Donizetti that they did.
Yeah, they were going to do it over there, but
they didn't.
They didn't. They did it. I think they wound up doing it at downtown at the what's the classic theater?
The Orpheum.
Yeah, the Orpheum. So
okay.
I think they wound up doing it there. I don't think that they were prepared to do it in that hall.
Oh well.
So anyway,
but still, the facility was designed so that they could do that. But you're right. At the very least, they can do all these rehearsals. And they've got a full, departments for wardrobe. They have departments for props, departments for wigs, costuming. They have
everything.
A music library.
Oh, my Lord.
It
will make any fan of vinyl just drool. Exactly.
I mean, you could hear the slobbering from everybody there just wiping up the saliva off their mouths. I mean, there was puddles all over the floor. The vinyl collection was just unbelievable. And it's
phenomenal.
all there for people who want to do research on any operas that they may be rehearsing.
And they have rehearsal rooms for individual rehearsals. And they're doing... from what I understand, they're giving young students that are right out of school and giving them a break and giving them the opportunity to perform and get additional help in their careers and putting them in different parts in Arizona Opera. And it's kind of a working... What do you want to call it? A young artist program.
Yeah, some sort of a young artist program. Yeah. And instead of Arizona Opera just being some B-rate opera company, it's really trying to turn itself into something that I think will give it some really, really strong legacy now.
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
So we had this reception, and then we were invited into the rehearsal hall after we did a tour of the entire facility and offices, because they actually do administrative work there as well.
Yeah.
So, everything under one big roof. I love it. And then we went into the rehearsal hall, and we got to see them rehearse what is supposed to be, I guess, the final scene of Arizona Lady. Tell us about Arizona Lady, what you've learned from it.
Well,
learned about it.
It appears to be, I had originally thought that Arizona Lady was the lead character.
Yeah, we all realized. Yeah, Arizona Lady's a horse.
Arizona Lady's a horse. Anyway, it's about a young lady who has a horse that she's trying to, hoping it wins the Kentucky Derby. And it's set in cowboy Arizona in the probably 1890s.
I'd say 1890s, yeah.
Something to that effect. And it was written by a German immigrant, a Jewish German immigrant to the
Emmerich
US.
Kallmann.
And he had visited Arizona, and he had written this in
1953.
53, right. And it has been seldom performed. It had a rewrite and was performed in Chicago in 2010, I believe.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
Then the estate wanted the libretto rewritten because of some things in the libretto that just didn't fit.
It didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work. And
I also read that another reason is by changing the libretto a little bit, it could actually better serve the Spanish-speaking community here in Arizona.
Actually, they gave a real positive light on Latino community, and there's German, English, and Spanish in the
and it's performed in all three languages.
In all three languages, and they did a rewrite and fixed it up a little bit, and this is actually going to be the re-premiere, shall we say, of this
new translation. Yeah.
And so I'm excited about it.
What did you think about what we heard?
It was very musical sounding, in the sense of Broadway musical, movie musical, that type of thing. But that was his.
That was his.
What he did. Yes, that's what he did. He wrote musical film scores.
Yeah, because he left Hungary, the Hungary-Austria area, when he during World War II, and made his way over to Los Angeles, and was already a composer, and started. He was apparently just really captivated by the movie musicals that he was seeing at that time, and he was heavily inspired. And in fact, this Arizona Lady is considered an operetta, and I suppose technically it is, but listening to the final act and the final scene, it was a big chorus number, and to me it really felt like I was listening to Arizona's version of Oklahoma.
Yep.
I mean, it had that kind of energy, it had that musical structure and depth to it, so that I really felt like I was listening to American opera.
Yeah.
I was very, very impressed with it, and I'm really quite excited about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was what we got to do 2 weeks ago. I really had a great time, and
I'm looking forward to seeing it. Yes.
I'm very excited to see it. It's this weekend as we're recording this. It's in Tucson, and I think next weekend is when it comes here in Phoenix. So I'm very excited about it, and it gives me great hope for Arizona opera in the future.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys, and they're geeks. Is that okay?
And that sound means it's time for the birthdays. So here are a few selected birthdays for October 12th through October 18th. On October 12th, Josh Hutcherson, 22. Oh my. Hugh Jackman is 46, and Joan Rivers would have been 80.
Can we talk? She should still be alive.
Exactly. October 13th, Paul Simon, 73.
Okay, just
Simon
go
and
ahead
Garfunkel.
and, dig up the grave, plant the headstone, throw me in there, and just toss dirt on me.
Here's another one. Marie Osmond,
Oh, God.
55. Oh my God. Well, but that one's not so bad.
No,
though.
the next one killed me.
Same age I am. But Sammy Hagar, 67.
Ouch.
Really? Oh my God.
I'm just an old fart.
October 14th, Roger Moore is 87. Ralph Lauren is 75. Harry Anderson.
What?
Here's another one. 62.
Oh my God. Judge Harry from Night Court. I loved this
know.
guy.
And Justin Hayward, 68.
Oh, that's it. I quit. I'm done. Life.
I know.
I retire.
Yep. Actually, on October 14th, Lillian Gish
Wow.
was born in 1893. Lillian Gish was known as the First Lady of American cinema. She died in 1993 at 99.
Good God.
Her career spanned 75 years and over 120 films. And actually, it was, D.W. Griffith that gave her her start. And she did like 30 films for him. But the most critically acclaimed film that she did was in 1953. It was 1955, Night of the Hunter, with Roger Mitchum, Shelley Winters, Charles Lawton, Peter Grave, among others.
Whoa.
What a creepy film. Oh,
I've
my
never
God.
seen it, but man, that cast looks amazing. So you've seen it then?
Yes. Oh, Robert Mitchum is scary.
Really?
Just scary.
Okay,
Yes.
I think we need to see this. We need to find this movie then.
Yeah. It's a creepy film.
Oh, I wouldn't mind watching it.
Anyway, First Lady of American Cinema, 1893, Lillian Gish. October 15th, Penny Marshall is 71. Emeril Lagasse is 55. Bam!
Yeah.
Richard Carpenter,
Oh.
68. And Lee Iacocca is 90. He was the spearhead behind the Mustang and the
Right.
Pinto and the Pinto.
Oh
for
yeah, I
Ford.
heard he was. He had car dealerships in San Francisco when I was growing up, and you couldn't escape those commercials. I mean, he was a big deal.
Yep. October 16th, Angela Lansbury is 89.
Wow.
Eugene O'Neill was born in 1888, and Oscar Wilde, 1854.
There's only one thing in the world worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about.
Yes. October 17th, Mark Gatiss is 48, and Gary Puckett.
Good word.
Of Gary
Wow.
Puckett and the Union Gap is 72. You know what? When I was a kid, it must have been 68 or 69 that he was performing at the Muskogee State Fair. I remember specifically walking with my cousin Kathy and my sister and other cousins, but there was a poster on a light pole for Gary Puckett and the Union Gap at the
far
Muskogee State
out.
Fair. So, anyway, also on October 17th, Cameron McIntosh is 68. He gave us Les Mis.
Les Miserables.
Yes.
The musical.
The musical, yes. And October 18th, Chuck Lorre is 62, and Howard Shore is 68.
He's 68? I didn't realize he was that old.
I know. It's
Man, and wow, I think his career was discovered way too late in life.
amazing. Yeah. That's all for the birthdays this week.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Yeah, go over to chuckchat.com and listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama. You might just hear us too.
Oh, yeah.
You never
might hear
know.
it. You never know when we might pop up on the show.
Exactly. And now it's time for listener feedback. I let that play a little extra long.
Yeah, because we never get to hear the rest of
I
it.
know, I kind of like that.
Kind of far out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, got quite a bit of feedback here. Our good friend of the show, Arkle, he had a comment regarding the story we did last week on the Star Wars soundtrack reissues. And I had made the comment that when I bought Empire Strikes Back, the soundtrack, that there was a spoiler in there regarding Yoda. Anyway, he writes, makes sense what they're doing with the Star Wars soundtrack. Remember how the track listing for the soundtrack for episode 1 contained a spoiler? Granted, no longtime Star Wars fan expected Liam Neeson's character to survive the whole trilogy, let alone the whole movie, but still. The Serenity soundtrack had the same problem, spoiling Book's death.
Oh, well.
Well, as long as they didn't spoil Wash's.
Yeah.
Wash is dead!
What?
Ah! Anyway, another friend of the show, and hope to be talking to him very, very soon.
Yes, hopefully next
David
week.
Wagner from Origin Beyond the Impact simply left this comment. Based on your enthusiasm and, parenthetical, implied recommendation, I have begun to watch both Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Gotham. Ah, I feel it working. I'm becoming more geeky. I don't know why he had to give the evil laugh.
I don't know.
There's nothing evil about it, David. I mean,
Evil geeky's evil?
I mean, come over to the light side. We're having a party here.
There you go.
Yeah. And now, a friend of ours on Facebook, Scott Linder, and he wrote regarding the article, the story that we just reported on about the Flash tech costume. Yeah. If they wanted to get away from the TV series look, they should just use one of the comic book costumes. Why must they always tweak the look of comic book characters? Why tempt fate on an already proven good thing?
You think?
Well, because that's the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
And we're not running the world, like we should be.
Yeah.
And then another friend of ours, Roy Roberts, he had a comment about the Cruella movie. And it's about the screenwriter who does, 50 Shades of Grey. And he simply wrote, and with that screenwriter selection, there goes any hope of something interesting. Christina, Crazy Joe's wife.
Mrs. Crazy Joe.
Mrs. Crazy Joe. She added, and that will be followed by Ursula, Jafar, Scar, and Gaston. I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
And then Kathy Webb, she simply put, I don't even know what to say about the screenplay being written by the same person who wrote the screenplay for 50 Shades of Grey. Is it an upgrade to write 101 Shades of Black and White? You can't make this stuff up.
I'm not making this up.
I'm not making this up. And that's our feedback.
And just a reminder, if you like our show or even if you dislike it, you can comment on our Facebook page, our YouTube episodes, or at tggeeks.com on any of the articles, and you could receive a shout out on a future episode. Or you can call our listener feedback line like Crazy Joe did last week, and we will play your comment on air. That's 469-TG-GEEKS, 469-844-3357.
This is Mark Biaggi, and you're listening to the Two Gay Geeks webcast. You name it, they'll talk about it.
I'm going to let this one play too.
You're running the board.
It's kind of interesting.
I expect to see John Wayne come riding in on a horse.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we had a few returning shows this last week. Start this off with, we had CSI Cyber.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about the finale to CSI,
Right.
where we saw the return of William Peterson and...
Marge Hellenberger.
Thank you.
Helgenberger. Yes.
You're having problems.
Yeah.
It's contagious.
Yeah, anyway.
Neener.
Yeah.
But we also
Her.
mentioned her, yes. But we also mentioned how Ted Danson was going to be leaving that show, but taking his character of DB and bringing him over to CSI Cyber, and we got the premiere last Sunday.
Oh my gosh. And it was just as quirky as ever. He was as quirky as ever, yes.
It was. You know, what was really funny about it.
It was great though to add that quirky humor.
I liked it.
To that show.
I liked it. It was very.
It changed it up a bit.
It changed it up a lot.
Yeah.
There's only one takeaway from all of this, and that is his interaction and his role in helping to solve whatever crime that they were dealing with for the week was greatly minimized. Now, he did have one great moment where they enter into this house, and he's being Mr. CSI supervisor like he was over at his previous show, you know, and examining the physical evidence on the floor and all that, because that's his specialty.
Right. Well, I think it adds a new element to the show, because they pretty much run the gamut of the cyber only.
Yeah, it's all
procedural.
digital crime.
So now this gives them a lot more room to grow out and do a lot of other things besides doing the cyber, adding the real crime solving, not real crime, but the crime solving that he was accustomed to.
You know, I think you've hit something here.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if maybe they felt, because in the beginning, when CSI Cyber premiered last season, it seemed like the first couple of episodes were like, you know, borrowed out of the pages of whatever crime that you saw in the newspaper. But as time went on, it felt like it was becoming just a little bit more, beginning to border on the absurd.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
It was beginning to encroach into that area of science fiction. And I'm now
I don't think they
wonder.
wanted to ruin the series or the CSI name by doing something that's completely outlandish.
No, I mean, they did
Yeah.
that with Miami.
Yes, exactly. And I think that maybe they decided they needed to come back to their roots a little bit, keep the cyber, because that's where crime is happening today, but also those crimes that happen that are not only cyber, but also have a criminal element to them.
Well, like the premiere did.
Murders and you know, all
Yeah, I mean,
kinds
there
of
was
other
an
crime like
actual
that. Exactly.
there was an actual murder that happens in a home.
Right.
And some of the evidence that DB is able to examine helps him to, I think that's where they discover the victim's daughter.
Right.
So he does play a role, but the bulk of the story has him just playing with toys.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting all these electronic gadgets, and yes, it did add an incredibly lighthearted moment to the series. You know, so the entire episode was peppered with all these kind of light little things happening here. Like, you know, the very end of the episode, he's playing with a drone. Yeah, that's what you want. Playing, having a drone buzz DC. Sure, that's a great idea.
Exactly. Or the cockroaches.
The cockroaches. Okay, I'm sorry. I really have to take exception to that. I was squirming.
Yep.
That wasn't also cool. I really didn't care for that. But it was an interesting start.
Yep.
So
We'll
it'll
see
be
how it goes.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see how this goes. And I like Ted Danson. He greatly impressed me when he joined CSI.
Absolutely. It was like, wow.
I mean, he brought something that I didn't expect. So I have high hopes that he can keep bringing that same quality and help push CSI Cyber into further success.
Right.
Okay, moving over to our
CW.
The CW, where we get to talk about our favorite, well, he's our only, Emerald Archer. And we're talking about Arrow.
Emerald Archer? What?
Yeah, Emerald.
Green Arrow? Oh.
Emerald Archer.
Emerald Archer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was his birthday.
Yeah. I got nothing.
Yeah.
But yes, we're talking about I just like, okay, I just hit a dead end there. Okay, but we're talking about Arrow. And some interesting things here. They finally saw the realization of some very key things. It's now Green Arrow.
Yes.
We've been waiting patiently. And I know that there are some people that were a little impatient. They kind of wanted to get to the whole Green Arrow thing. But one of the things that I read, especially when they were talking about Black Canary, the showrunners, they wanted to really explore the idea of evolution.
Right.
How characters get from point A to point Z, actually.
Yeah.
And all the steps that it takes to get there.
I think they've done it. It's been well paced.
Yeah. I mean, we're only this is season 4.
Is it Really? I thought it was.
Are we season 5? It's not 3. I
No,
know
it's-
that.
It's 4. I guess it's 4.
I believe it's season 4. So this has been very, very well paced. It's season 4 or season 5 now. I can't be quite sure.
Uh-oh. Next season's last season, unless they want to pay more money.
Well, yeah, 5-year contracts. Yeah, you might be. Yeah, I hate to say that, but once again, you might be onto something.
They're going to kill the arrow.
Did that already. Well, it was a fake. But, wow, talk about interesting little developments here. Ray Palmer is still presumed dead
Yeah.
after Palmer Technologies exploded at the end of last season. So I'm kind of wondering how they're going to bring him back.
Hmm.
And then, of course, as we said earlier, Ollie is now calling himself Green Arrow, since the Arrow is technically dead.
Yep.
And it's now
Okay.
Star City instead of Starling City. So a lot of little elements that are in the comic books are now finally being realized in the TV show. But I
Yeah.
think the thing that everybody is now looking at is right from the get-go, this thing took one very weird turn.
Yeah.
And that was the introduction of this villain for the series, for the season, in Damien Dark, and what the man can do.
Yeah, we won't give any spoilers, but it's interesting.
Now,
Very interesting.
yeah, this is a really huge departure, and I'm not saying this as a bad thing. I'm actually saying this as a good thing, because I have complete faith in what the showrunners are doing. They are not one to just introduce something and then forget that they've introduced it, or not give any kind of exposition to the introduction. So they've introduced this new element that had not been there before. I mean, it'd been kind of hinted on, but never fully explored. And something that happens early in this episode really kind of took me back, and I thought, wow, they're going to an area that they said they weren't planning on going to. Although I think they took a lesson from the school of Stephen Moffat, and that is always lie.
Yeah.
And I think they lied, because this went into a direction I didn't expect. But it makes sense considering, and this is not a spoiler because it's been all over the net if you haven't heard this already, they're bringing in John Constantine in a future episode.
Yeah.
So it actually works that this, right from the get-go, this series is taking this new turn. I'm really intrigued by it.
Yeah.
I have only one small quibble.
Quibble away.
Black Canary, how the heck are you not fighting better by now?
True.
You should be, I mean, right towards the end of last season, you were fighting like just one badass lady. And I'm sorry, you had your butt kicked way too many times. Thea, I can sort of get, no, actually, no, Thea, no. No, she should have been far more successful in taking some of those people out. I mean, she learned from practically the best from her daddy. She should be really skilled in her fighting skills,
Yeah,
and
she should.
we did not see that. And that's something that they always try to do whenever they want to show the superiority of the villain. They have to make our heroes look incompetent.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I don't care for that.
But there could have been a different way to do that.
I think so too.
Instead of, just overpower them.
Yeah, overpower them, overwhelm them, but don't make them look incompetent. You made Thea and you made Laurel look incompetent in the fighting, and I didn't
Yeah,
like that. That
yeah.
bothered me enormously. So, but
Yep.
as a whole, what did you think in terms of starting off with the new season?
I thought it was good. It was interesting. I liked the way that they introduced the other characters and the things that they've done with the characters so far. And then obviously the flashbacks they're still continuing that, so we're getting a little bit more of Ollie's backstory.
Which I think is going to play into the exposition of this new dark
Right,
element that's being
exactly.
added. I mean,
Yeah.
because the island story, or in this, giveaway, the history story, and the present day story, they generally
Spoiler.
track. Spoiler! You didn't hear that? La 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 la. Sorry about that. But yeah, the history story and the present day story always seem to track. So
There's
there we are
always similarities.
yeah, in
There's
some
something to be learned from the origin story to present day.
absolutely.
Yep.
What do you think of the ending?
I don't know. I don't even want to give it away. So,
You have any thoughts? I mean, we both thought the same thing when we first saw it, but then we both changed our minds.
Yeah, I don't want to say.
You just don't want to say?
Nope.
All right. I've been blabbing about it all over Facebook. But yeah, it's not the obvious. I will say that.
Yeah.
So now that brings us to the second CW property, and that would be The Flash.
Yeah, I'm really liking this show.
I am loving this show.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Arrow. It's like, okay, it's there, and I, not being a comic book fan of either one, the Arrow or the Green Arrow or Flash. Arrow is just, it's kind of, it's okay. I like it. But
I like it a lot.
Not like I like the Flash.
Okay.
I really like the Flash.
So I have a funny feeling I know what it is. What is it about the Flash? I think that you feel that there is one singular element that is making the Flash superior to Arrow as far as you're concerned. What is it?
I don't know.
Oops, did I put you on the spot?
Yeah, you did. Well,
because you commented on it in past episodes.
Yeah, it's a little lighter.
Yeah,
there's and it is a little bit more. I don't know. It's just kind of. I just like it better.
It has heart.
It has heart, and it plays up that family aspect.
That's it.
And that they really said that in this episode, this season opener. They really played up the familial aspect.
Whether
it's blood family or whether it's chosen family or whether it's family by association.
Yes.
So
Yes. That's the one thing that I think really elevates Flash. I don't want to say elevate. It sets Flash apart from Arrow.
Right. And while Arrow has sort of kind of done that, but they haven't.
Well, there is a sense of family there, but it comes from a dark place.
It's camaraderie.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of antagonism because everything there is coming from a very, very dark place.
Right.
Flash is not. Flash is coming from a very hopeful, optimistic place.
Right.
I mean,
those are some dark circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, the dark circumstance mostly being Barry's father falsely imprisoned,
right? And his mother dying,
and trying to figure out, who really killed his mother, all these sort of things. So yeah, there are some dark moments there, but there's also some. They are completely covered over by moments of sheer beauty.
Yep.
And it's those family moments that I think just scream there, and a lot of this is really brought to the forefront by the amazing acting of this cast.
Yes, the cast is wonderful.
The cast, I couldn't ask for a better cast in this film. I mean, obviously Grant Gustin, this man who played a very two-dimensional kind of character. I mean, his first big break was Glee, and he was just a very two-dimensional character who was over at the Dalton School for Boys, or Dalton School, and was one of the Warblers. A really shallow, just very not likable kind of guy. And now comes over, although amazing singing voice, and now comes over and is playing this boy genius scientist. Well, I shouldn't say boy. I mean, he's a young man, but this very incredibly smart scientist, or at least a police scientist, who has such emotional depth to his character, and the scenes that he has with the actor who plays his father. I mean, when he cries, I mean, and this is going to sound really cheesy, but those scenes where Barry ends up crying are so genuine that it just pulls at your heartstrings. And then we saw in a later episode, and you mentioned the chosen family bit, where his adopted father, Joe, Barry's talking to him about what a wonderful father figure Joe has been to him, and you could feel the beautiful emotion just being transmitted back and forth between these characters. That's what gives this series such unbelievable hope
Right.
and
Well,
gives its. I think that's where its optimism comes from.
So it's the blood family, the adoptive family, and the chosen family in the sense of his comrades in fighting crime and
Yeah,
the
and,
Flash.
And those elements shape the story. They shape how Barry has to deal with whatever crime situation is going on because obviously, Joe is a police officer. He's got all these people that are now family to him who are on, Team Flash, and he cares for them deeply. So his decisions are molded by his relationships with these other people. So whether you're actually directly dealing with the family situation or indirectly, just due to the criminal conflict that the conflict that Barry is dealing with, with the rogues gallery of villains for the
Right.
week, that family aspect, it carries through all the way. In every second that episode is being broadcast,
Yeah.
in every frame, and that's what makes The Flash, I think, such an unbelievably strong episode. And I keep hearing that Arrow wants to go down that direction, and I think they're on the road to doing that
Yeah, they
because
just got a lot of darkness to get over.
there's a lot of darkness they need to get over, but I think there's a lot of positivity. There's a lot of positive potential there. I mean, we've got Thea, who is now fighting side by side with Arrow, so we can really build up that sibling relationship. His ex-girlfriend, Laurel, is fighting with him alongside now. His current girlfriend, Felicity, is now a part of Team Arrow. His ex-best friend, hopefully they can reconcile that again. Diggle is now there. I mean, so the potential for having that camaraderie, having that love, that bond is there. And I only hope that that Arrow can achieve that same kind of emotional heart to the series, because I think that'll make just the storytelling that much better and that much more rewarding, and also give it that much more consequence and risk
Yeah.
at the same time as Flash does. So
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this season of Flash.
I'm very excited about the season of Flash, especially now that they're literally going into a whole new universe.
Yep.
It's could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very happy with the 3 shows that came back this week. Very happy. Some good potential there, and I just can't wait for the future.
Yeah. And we got some follow-up items that, as always, I want to bring your attention once again to Conditioning, the UK film that is a horror short with a message. Their Indiegogo campaign is still on. They're trying for the stretch goal of 1,500. We'll have a link to that campaign on the website.
Good.
Go be part of an independent film.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. For as little as $1.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we can speak from personal experience that when you see its success, when you see the success that takes place in an independent film, I mean, it just feels good.
Yep.
It just
does.
really feels good to see something that you invested in, whether it be financially or even emotionally, whatever. When you can do that, it's enormously rewarding.
Exactly.
And I also give a little bit of a shout out to the Doctor Who fan cast guide. Thank you guys for taking our stories in your fan cast guide and tweeting them out there for all the world to see. And they are on at Talking Who on Twitter, and we will have the link for them on our show notes. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to the Facebook group, The Gay Geek. Thank you for allowing us to post our episodes.
Yes, thank you.
On your group page. Man, that has been such a bonus to us. I can't thank you enough. Neither of us can thank you enough. It's just been really wonderful. And I want to give a special thanks to the moderator, because he's the one that I've been dealing with primarily in getting this done, and that's Jeremiah Rees. He's such a nice guy. Huge steampunk fan.
Yeah.
He's really big into steampunk. But he's really, really friendly, and he was very enthusiastic about seeing our posts for our episodes end up on the Facebook page. So
Thank you very much.
The Gay Geek. It's facebook.com/groups/The Gay Geek. Thank you very much.
Up next time, well, we still don't know. We might have an interview. You never know.
We might have an interview. It's hard to say.
Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page
That's
for articles and the things that we've talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page, website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. From TG Squared Studios, I am Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
And I'm Ben saying cheers.